Kelly Bullis, CPA here in Carson City with Toby Tatum once again, continuing on talking about how to make your business more sellable, more valuable to a buyer down the road someday when you decide to retire and you want to turn your business into your retirement fund. So, Toby, we talked last week about expanding your market. You can either grow it, more things that you do, or become more of an expert in growing just where you're at. So today we're going to talk about something that they call the Switzerland structure. And when I first heard that, I thought, what the heck are they talking about? And then it made a lot of sense. If you're Switzerland, you're just a small little country, and you're dependent upon, trying to keep your neutrality. You're just all by yourself, right? Well, they were basically using that to remind us that when you become too dependent on some certain key people or organizations for your business to continue, then you're like Switzerland. You're no longer able to survive on your own. You're just hoping that you can survive, but you're surrounded by bigger countries that can take you out at any time. And so, an example, if you have a key employee that if they left, you'd be really in a lot of trouble, or if you had a major supplier that if their place burned down or they suddenly went out of business or had some major disaster and they couldn't provide your product anymore that you need, you would be in a world of hurt. Or if you had a major customer that was kind of controlling what prices you charge them and what services you provide and when, and if they left, a big chunk of your business would go out the door. Those three things scare a buyer because you may have that employee that sticks with you, but they wouldn't stick with the buyer. You might have that supplier that has got a good deal with you that may not give the same deal to your buyer. You may have that customer that really liked doing business with you that once you're no longer there, they might go somewhere else. So as you can see, for a buyer of your business, those are bad things. So Toby, talk a little bit about how do you overcome having a key employee and making it so that that's not a problem anymore.
Well, again, I draw from my restaurant experience. And the restaurant industry tends to have fairly high employee turnover. And within the restaurant business, the key employee among the hourly employees is going to be the cooks. The cooks that can handle the busy nights, the Friday to Saturday night dinner rush. That's absolutely the key employee. And you have just one person who can handle that Friday night or Saturday night rush and that person's gone, you can lose a lot of customers by trying to fake it with somebody that isn't qualified. So the way that we did it in my company is we opened the door to any employee in any position. It could be a salad bar attendant, a dining room service staff person, a cashier, a busboy or dishwasher, anybody that wanted to learn to be a cook, we would train them. The way we did it is we said, we will train you on one of your days off so you're not scheduled to be trained to be a cook during your normal scheduled hours. And then we would train that person and we would pay them their regular wage, whatever their wage was for the job they had, we would pay them that wage while they were being trained to be a cook. And then we had levels of cooks. We had level 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the fourth level was the highest. That's a person who could handle a Friday and Saturday night rush. So that way we would encourage these people to learn to be a cook, and as they got better and they learned to be a cook, then we'd give them a little bit of an increase in their hourly pay for whatever job they were doing. But the way to keep their skill level up, once they got up to level 4, we gave them the option to come in on their time off, which would probably either be Saturday night or Friday night, and we would pay them to step up to that broiler to keep their skill level up and cook 1 hour during a busy night. We'd pay them $50 an hour for that 1 hour on a voluntary basis, and by doing that, we had as many as 6 people that at any time we could call on to take over that broiler on a Friday night or Saturday night if we had to.
That's a great idea. And as you can see there, it requires a little creativity, thinking out of the box. And I always like to say, when you run a business, you get to set the rules of the game. And the rules will encourage the behavior you want to accomplish. So Toby, you set the rule of, I want want to encourage people to learn how to be cooks, and so you gave them an incentive, and they were willing to play that game, and they became cooks, and that spread your dependency away from a couple of key people.
Absolutely.
And made your business much stronger.
Absolutely. Plus, when we did lose a key cook for whatever reason, we were ready to take somebody and promote them right up from whatever position they were working on, then they could go and be a cook. So we never had to go outside to find a lead cook for the busy Friday and Saturday nights.
And, as an example, just here in my CPA firm today, my secretary is out of the office. She had a death in the family, wasn't expected, and so last minute, I haven't got anybody at the front answering the phones, dealing with customers, taking care of the normal front office stuff. But we had cross-trained a couple of other staff in the office to be able to handle that on an emergency basis. So there's been no interruption in our service in the way our firm operates today, even though a key employee is missing from the front of our office. So cross-training is one of the keys to eliminating dependency on one employee.
Absolutely. Cross-training for key employee positions is absolutely a very good strategic strategy to follow, and it does make your business more marketable.
Okay, now let's talk about customers. I've, in the past, I think all of us can tell a story about how the excitement of landing that first big customer. You had a whole lot of these level customers, and suddenly one that's worth this much more that wants to do all kinds of additional business with you, and you're excited because, wow, we just suddenly added to the profitability of our company. And then, 5-6 months down the road, you discover there's a downside to having one big customer. They, by nature, are going to cause you to gravitate towards being afraid of losing them. And so you start giving them discounts on what you charge them, and you give them special treatment, and you give them extra service, and they love it, and they're happy. But what happens is now you have two tiers of clients or customers. The one big one that if you lost, now that you've added your staff and you've expanded your business to be able to serve them, if they left, you'd be in a world of hurt because now you have more cost associated with serving that one big client that you would all of a sudden be absorbing without the revenue if they left. And so what you do is this is all about marketing. The goal is to go out and find 3 or 4 more clients of that size. And then also grow your normal customer base so that you have enough business that if they left, it would hurt, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Buyers like to see a very good, diverse, stable customer base of lots of customers. You have a lot of services you're providing for, a few on the high end, but not as a percentage of your gross revenue more than a fairly small amount. You don't want to see 25, 30, 40, 50% of your business in one customer. That's a dangerous thing to do. So the goal is not to get rid of that customer, but to add to your business so that they become a smaller percentage of your total business. That means if you aren't marketing, if you don't have a marketing plan, if you don't have marketing people in your business, if you aren't out aggressively trying to grow your market, your customer base, like we talked about last week, you need to be doing that. Now, the third problem is dependency on one vendor or a couple of key vendors. I was involved in a company several years ago where we had a manufacturer that made our product and we distributed it literally all over the world. We had a lot of locations here in the U.S. We had locations in other parts of the world as well. And so we had a distribution system and it was working beautifully. Everything was just humming. And then we had a disaster where our manufacturer that we were using was unable to produce our product for 6 months. And we suddenly couldn't provide what we were selling to our distribution system. And we had tried to find another manufacturer, but they weren't able to step up to the plate and do the volume that we needed. And so the quality of the product that they were making went down. Our customer base immediately noticed that, and we lost market share, and it hurt us bad because we didn't have multiple good, capable suppliers in place to be able to provide an alternative if we needed to. And the way you do that is you may be getting a really nice, profitable deal from this one supplier, and if you go to another one, you may not get as good a deal. but you need to give up some of that profit to spread your risk around. So, as in the vernacular of baseball, I love baseball, you need to be a coach that has a deep bullpen. You can call on several pitchers to come up and get you out of a jam, not just one. And so having multiple suppliers that you can get what you need, a raw material or a finished good that you need in your business, have multiple suppliers. That's a very important one for you to work on. And you can do that by just, going around doing a little research. Well, who else, sells what I need? And see if you can't negotiate a deal with them. Tell them, hey, I normally work with company A. I'd like to start doing some business with you. Can you give me a break even though I'm not hitting your volume discount levels? And believe it or not, they might. So you don't get what you don't ask for. So anyway, that's the Switzerland structure. If you're thinking about selling your business someday, a buyer does not like Switzerland. Just remember that. Key employees, key customers, key providers are not a good thing. You want to have lots of employees that know how to work, lots of providers, and lots of customers, so lose any one of those, not a major disaster to a business.
Right.
So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week with another thought on how to get your business ready to sell. Thanks for listening.